I just got out of watching The Marvels, and I have to admit, I expected a lot of negative things about this movie. In the months leading up to it, all the leaks, everything, it didn't sound very good, to be honest with you. It didn't sound like a movie that was made for me, and when all the reviews officially started coming out a few days ago, it made it sound even worse. Well, I've watched it, and I can safely say, without a shadow of a doubt, it's one of the worst MCU movies or MCU products I've ever seen. I think Captain Marvel back in 2019, that was a bad movie in my opinion. That feels mid, like a mid movie compared to something like The Marvels. In nearly every aspect, from a story perspective, from a writing perspective, from a character perspective, from an editing perspective, almost every part of the movie just seems in some way like they came up short. You can tell the movie's probably been heavily edited to death. But I don't know if that made it better or worse, what may have happened in the editing room. Let's just get down to it. I'm probably going to put spoilers in here because I don't think there's too many people that, one, don't know the spoilers or aren't already going out to see the movie opening night if you really care that much about it. So there's your warning. We will probably get into spoilers. Let me start with the most positive things I can say about the movie are there were times when all the actresses involved, Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, Teyonah Parris, there were moments for all of them at different points where you can kind of see a little bit of chemistry between them and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it was so scattered throughout the movie, bits and pieces here and there. And a lot of other times, they were either not believable or, like in the case of Iman Vellani, I think I like her as an actress. I think she's really sweet. She comes off really likable. But the character herself, Miss Marvel, can just be a little much. It's just a little bit too cringe at times. For Brie Larson as well, there were elements in this where she didn't come off as the same standoffish Captain Marvel that we saw in 2019, that she had a little bit more warmth and stuff like that. There were other times where they reverted right back to that same old Brie Larson, Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. Teyonah Parris, same kind of way, in terms of it just depended on the scene, whether you're going to like this character or kind of despise this character. The villain, Dar-Benn, it's not exactly like Marvel's known for the best villains in every single movie. A lot of people consider that a weakness, maybe of the MCU. Just flat and uninteresting and dull. A male version of Ronan the Destroyer, basically, whose attempt is to bring her homeworld back to life after Captain Marvel destroyed it. A massive problem with this movie, just being real. A massive problem is the fact that this movie is a sequel to like 5 different things. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Secret Invasion, WandaVision, all these things. It's a sequel to those movies, or to those movies and TV series. But at the same time, it feels like we missed a bunch. It feels like there should have been a Captain Marvel 2 movie where she like destroys this world or something. But we never saw that. It just gets explained in a little flashback. So even if you're someone that's kept up with all that, you're still going to feel like you're maybe not getting the entire story when it comes to this movie. It is frenetically edited, especially the first half of it. And I think part of that is intentional. Part of that they're doing to show you the switching between bodies when they do their powers. But overall, I feel like it in an effort to make you be engaged and excited and like surprised about what happens, it bores you to death because it's just such a frenetic, nonsensical pace. Nick Fury, after being done so dirty in Secret Invasion, there was no reason for Nick Fury to be in this movie. Not really. Other than just be like slapstick, stupid comedy relief. I hated what they did with him. I hated what they did with Nick Fury in this thing. Kamala Khan's family didn't need to be around the entire movie, other than just, again, the entire plot with Kamala Khan's family and Samuel L. Jackson and the Flurkins. By the way, there's a whole subplot where they're trying to figure out it's these Flurkin kittens that are being born, and their plan to save the space station is to have them eat everybody and bring them back down to Earth. This is the shortest, I believe, the shortest movie in MCU history, and it felt way too long. It felt like you could have cut a lot of that dumb shit out. Overall, the nice things I will say about it are there were times, especially when the 3 main actresses are together, where you can see there's a little bit of chemistry between them, and they seem a little bit more likable at times. But that's few and far between. Those moments are few and far between. At each and every level, from the people who wrote this shit, from the people who greenlit this shit, to the person who directed it, to the person in the editing room, this is going to go down as one of the biggest failures in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll see what it does at the box office. Don't have a lot of hope for that either, but I guess only time will tell. A lot of people are just going to say, if you don't like this movie, well, you don't like strong women, all the bullshit they've tried to pull in the past couple years. This is just not a good movie. Like, there's really no other way around it. The people who were laughing and cheering in my theater, a pretty sparsely attended theater, but the people that were like laughing at everything and cheering, there's a couple 40-year-old women. That was it. Everybody else was pretty quiet. Didn't seem like they really dug the movie. And then, of course, we get to the spoilers at the end. Kamala Khan setting up young female Avengers with Kate Bishop and going to have Cassie Lang, probably Ironheart. If they go forward with that, that will be the next biggest failure in MCU history. And the post-credit scene with Monica Rambeau at the very end, after she saves the day, she ends up in a parallel dimension in the X-Men, the Fox X-Men universe, with her mom, Maria Rambeau, who doesn't know who she is, who's binary in that universe, and they show Beast. Beast is in it, Kelsey Grammer's Beast. It looks the CGI looks awful, like they did it last second, just like was reported, in a desperate effort to either get people excited or something for that character, instead of it just being Maria Rambeau that no one cares about. Overall, if I was to break down the plot, we'll take 60 seconds, break down this plot, even though the leaks have been out there forever. The leaks for months have pretty much been spot on. I think the only thing that really changed was what we saw with Beast at the end. But Dar-Ben discovers the other pair of the bangle that Kamala has on her wrist. Once she activates that, and Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau touch shiny things they probably shouldn't touch, their powers get entangled, they start switching, and it's chaotic. They're switching back and forth as they're trying to fight. Some people are trying to fly. We've seen that all in the trailers. We know what that entanglement and the power switching looks like. Dar-Ben's goal is to restore the planet that was destroyed by Captain Marvel when she destroyed the Kree Supreme Intelligence, which didn't happen during the Captain Marvel movie in 2019. That happened in between sometime, and we get a little bit of flashback of it. But she wants to restore that. She takes the atmosphere from one planet where there's a bunch of Skrull refugees. She takes the water from another planet where Captain Marvel has a husband, where their language is singing. Bro, there was like a 5-minute song and dance sequence in this. I'll say this. It wasn't as cringe as it could have been. On a cringe scale out of 10, it was about an 8 instead of a 10. I thought it was going to be a little bit worse. It's pretty fucking bad, though. It's pretty fucking bad. But she successfully steals the water from there, steals the atmosphere from the other planet, and she wants to steal the sun from Earth, and that's really when they need to, combine and stop her. There's one point in time where they're headed to the Song planet to stop her from stealing the water. They end up failing. That they're able to kind of figure out what activates the switching, and they work together. They have a cute little training montage, right, where they're working together, either jumping rope or throwing balls in the air, figuring out how to control their switching powers and how to end up in the same place and still be able to have your powers activated or whatever. So at least they did that. In one of the leaks, it said that it was just going to be suits that got made for them that worked and helped them control their powers. I wasn't a big fan of that. So I like the fact that they actually are the ones that did the work to figure out their switching powers. So there's a positive about the movie. Finally, in the end, they confront Dar-Ben, end up beating her, only to get tricked in the end by a really dumb villain who grabs both the bangles from Kamala and the one she has and tries to open up a portal to bring the sun from Earth to Hala. Doesn't really work out for her. She ends up dying, but it does rip a hole in the space-time continuum effectively into another multiverse. So that's when Monica Rambeau has to absorb all this energy, go in there, close it, but only from the other side. She gets left over there sacrificing herself before what we see in the end credits scene. You notice that's my basic rundown of the plot. You notice I never really had to talk about Nick Fury or anything going on at that space station, just because he didn't need to be in the movie. He only existed to be really dumb, retarded comic relief. It's just embarrassing what they've done to that character in general in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's my thoughts. I know I kind of talked for a while. The movie's not good. It is probably the worst MCU movie. I don't know if I would have to think about whether it's the worst MCU product or not. When you look at all the crappy Disney Plus shows that have come out, certainly one of the worst. This is going to be a nightmare for them. There's going to be a lot of backlash. A lot of people telling you it's the best thing ever, and despite all this, had a good time. Hey, maybe they're being truthful. Maybe maybe they just enjoy it. Maybe they just like to like things. Maybe they are the target audience. But it certainly was not for me. If you saw it, let me know what you think about this in the comments section below, and I'll talk to you later.